Hello, everyone. This is Fiona Wall back with FAT Talks, which stands for Faithful, Available, Teachable. At the Fidelis Leadership Institute, which I represent, we stand for an organization that is trying to create a critical mass of ethical leaders for Africa. How are we doing this? Of course, we do trainings and we do so many other things. But the most exciting program we have is that we are driving thought leadership around ethical and transparent and accountable leadership. So what we are doing to encourage the young people who have grown up to believe that the wicked prosper, that it's the wicked who prosper, is to go around and get people that have soared the heights and have been ethical in their walk, that have done things that we are proud of all over the continent and outside it. In order to show young people that, yes, you can make it, you need to stand for something or you fall for anything. And we also need strong, equipped voices that are skilled, that can step up in any boardroom and make decisions, and that are also, that have a name, because a good name is better than riches. So today with us, I'm excited to say, we have Smart24 TV, and I want to recognize them for being our sponsors and our partners. We would not be able to do this. Their voice all over the 7 East African countries, the 1 billion people now, that's how big our market is. And as we look at the pre-continental trade area, as we look at the developments across the continent, Africa is growing in leaps and bounds. Markets are growing. We are adding value to our produce. Infrastructure is developing at another rate. In running international organizations that are directly involved in increasing the resilience of African communities, especially around managing crises like food crisis, making sure that there is security in health and welfare. But I think for me, what blesses me is that this son of the soil has studied in various places outside of Africa, and he keeps bringing it back to aid Africa. With us, we have Dr. Latte Lawson Latego, who has served in many different capacities. He's currently a Chief Innovations Officer for an international organization. And before this, he spent 17 years with CARE International in various capacities in country, regional, and global roles. And his most recent global roles with CARE were Director of Economic Development. Now, you know we need this in Africa. And he was also the Senior Director for Food and Nutrition Security Department in the US. And while with CARE, he had his team pioneer CARE's first market engagement and agricultural value chain development strategy and implementation, enabling CARE to impact over 10 million people, especially women. Now, for me, this is results. Do you have results? So Dr. Lawson Latego is a skilled PhD holder. He has a doctoral degree in business administration from the Georgia State University in the US. He also, this focused on innovative business strategies, which is going to explain, and value co-creation between business and bottom of the pyramid people. He also earned 2 master's degrees in economics and business from the University of Lomé in Togo, and social and rural development from Reading University in the UK. I told you he's been all over the world studying and skilling up, and he's here in Uganda. We're excited to have you, Dr. Latte. And I just want to, this is a formidable CV. And with all this awesomeness, you're still coming back to Africa. Tell me about that. Are the roots really that deeply ingrained for you?
It is, yeah. Happy to be here. Africa is home.
Yeah.
African at heart and a globalist as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy to be here, and I love Uganda, by the way. So.
Oh, you love Uganda.
Anytime I have the opportunity, yes.
So what do you like eating in Uganda?
You know, Uganda is a beautiful country, right?
Yes.
I work a lot on foods,
Yes.
and Uganda has the potential to feed Africa.
It has a potential to be a
Yes.
food basket for
Food
Africa.
basket for
Yes,
Africa.
Yes.
The soil is
That's
rich.
music to my ears.
Yes. You have water, you have nice people.
So you're the second Winston Churchill saying this is the pearl of Africa.
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh,
It
thank
is
you
real.
very much. It took a man from Cameroon. Tell me about
Togo,
that.
Togo.
Oh, Togo, sorry.
Yeah.
It took a gentleman from Lome, Togo. Tell me about latte growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Lomé. I was born in Lomé, Togo, which is the capital city of Togo. Togo is a very small country, not well known by many, but
Yeah.
you know, sandwiched between Benin and Ghana.
Yeah. But we know it.
You know it.
I even know how to draw it. It's the
Excellent.
easiest to draw.
Because in America, I have to explain to people,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
It's sandwich is small, but yeah, it's very small country, born there, raised there. I went to university in Togo, so that's where I did my first master degree. Yeah, so I grew up there, but growing up, I was fortunate that my both parents, you know, are Christian, put me in the church. I grew up in the church, and so I was very active as youth
Oh, really?
leader in
Yes,
the church. So
yes.
that gave me a lot of exposure. Like every summer, right?
Yes.
You go in countries, like in rural areas, to serve.
Or to do some charity
to do
work.
some charity, to do volunteering. So I was early on exposed to differences in cities and rural areas.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Lack of infrastructure, you know, schools are not built.
So you had an early appreciation of the suffering of the
Yes.
ordinary people that were not born in the city, for
Yes,
instance.
the inequality between people who live in city, you have running water, you have electricity. When you go to villages, they don't have much. But they are happy though.
Yeah, oh, they're happy.
Yes.
Africans are happy.
Yeah.
I'll give them. And you know where they're happiest? In Uganda. We make jokes about suffering sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that impresses me is that, yes, you were socially conscious. But how did that inform your choices? Because, you know, coming from that background and you're studying business, how do you make that connect? Was it your
so-
parents' influence? Was it something you'd always wanted to do?
Yeah, growing up, I love managing. We had like small circles,
Yeah.
you know, for young people. So I was like the treasurer. So I love
Oh, the
counting
money man.
So my dream growing up was to you know, like become minister of finance and economy. But very quickly, that dream turned to like I can use.
You
that
love,
to help people.
did you love chopping the money or?
Just counting
Just
the
having
money
it.
and keeping accountable.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so that's my early dream. But very quickly, you know, in Africa, right, with my degree in my pocket, my
Yes.
master degree, it was very difficult to find a decent job. So in business, in corporate. So my first job out of college was I was working with a group of surveyors, people who
Oh, okay.
go to rural areas to do agriculture census.
Yes.
So talking
yes.
to farmers, collecting data, just to get a sense of how many farmers in Togo, what's the size of their land, what do they grow, what are the constraints. So I did that for a couple of years. That really opened up my eyes a lot. And I saw the opportunity, but the challenges as well, right?
Take me through that. What did that look for you? Like, what stood out that you think could relate to the rest of Africa?
Yeah, so, you know, doing that work gave me the sense of appreciation first of how hard farmers work to feed and nourish the world, right? But at the same time, why they are not that much appreciated by the market, for instance.
Yes.
Because there's so much exploitation. Middlemen
Middlemen
go,
everywhere.
who buy in bulk, cheap price, and who make a lot of money out of those poor farmers, right? And sometimes those same farmers who grow the foods who go to bed hungry. Yeah. because they have
For
to
real,
sell.
yeah.
They have to sell to make money,
Yeah.
and sometimes they sell cheap, and they don't manage well the financial flow, right?
Yes. The capital flow, putting the capital back, they eat
Yes,
their seed.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and also the infrastructure, right? Like they don't have access to storage, roads, so that they can transport those goods to the
Exactly,
markets.
yeah.
So those were the challenges.
Because
So
in Uganda, we've been suffering funny things like disasters in Karamoja when there's food abundance, maybe in the west, and you find that, and the central, and you find that people in the west and central are wasting food or losing food because they don't have ways of sending it to areas of the country of scarcity.
those are big.
And these were
issues.
problems for you 25.
25 years ago.
So
That
not
was
much has changed
Not
on the continent. What would you say?
I mean, I think it's changing though. It's changing, but it's still a big issue. I think one issue was governments did not keep investments in rural areas as they should have. For a reason that we know, right? The whole
Administrative structure of the colonialists, I think, was centered in urban
yeah,
center.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's part of it, but it's also those kind of restructuration that was done by the World Bank, the International Monetary Funds, and so government deprioritized social services, right? So because
there was a lot of funding for these kinds of things.
no, actually, yeah, there was funding before, and government were putting their resources into agriculture before, right? They had extension agents everywhere where they can provide support to those farmers, train them, hold their hands.
Even cooperatives.
Cooperatives, exactly.
Yeah. At least in Uganda, they were very active.
Yeah. So, but those things were deprioritized. So when you look at the budgets,
what do you think took priority? In your story, in your case,
I mean, there were other priorities like mostly invest in cities, infrastructure in cities, while in rural areas the investment was not equal, right? So they were putting more investment in cities and sometimes in not strategic sector, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So yes, those were issues. So people who were living in rural areas, in villages, were left out. They didn't have the right investment, even in health infrastructure, right? In school,
yes,
right? And housing, and so there was. I mean, there's still quite a lack of investment. Yeah. Although, like even here in Uganda, we say agriculture is the backbone.
We say that, but then when you look at our budgetary percentages,
exactly.
they're very,
it's very small. So
it's not even 3% in my country.
Yeah, I mean, the government in Africa committed to this kind of CADAP framework to invest 10%
exactly
in agriculture
and 15% in health.
Yeah,
and
but
we're not there. Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad to hear that what's happening here is happening in West Africa as well.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's many countries. You have few exceptions.
So let's come back to, for me, the issue of ethics. This morning I saw a very interesting article, and somebody was bemoaning the ethical crisis in Africa right now. And he was saying that, yes, we blame the West for abusing our resources or taking them, for subjecting us to never adding value to our product and making them marketable. But he blames our corruption, our corrupt leaders who have sold our birthright for a bowl of soup. I keep saying that. And yes, we could blame the leaders all day long. But this, and I'm just asking you as an economist, because sometimes I think capitalism is a very, very identical twin to corruption. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying, because winner takes all, and sometimes, even if you see you're going to allow market forces, but that talks about affordability and other things, which means that really there is no, it's the fittest that survive at the end of the day. the poor people down here are going to suffer. So how, to you as an economist, where do you think lies Africa's solution to this ethical crisis? And do you think solving the ethical crisis would contribute to equitable distribution of resources, development, and maybe, you know, getting to the 2040 lofty goals that we're making all over the continent?
Yeah, I mean, you are touching a very important point. I think ethics is everything, right? I just wish we all have that ethics from the top to the bottom. That's because at the end of the day, for a person, what matters is not really how wealthy are you dying, but it's really what legacy do you leave behind, right? I'm lucky to live in the US today, but because of the fight of some leaders who really sacrificed themselves for the right of many, right? So those leaders were not after just being rich. They could have been rich. So
instead of sacrificing their people, they sacrificed themselves for their people.
Yes.
Yes.
Like today, I'm citizen of the US, I can go vote because of those
Martin
civil
Luther
rights.
King, yes,
Exactly.
the civil rights movement.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think, yes, Africa, we went through difficult moments, colonialism, imperialism, all those stuff. But I think there's still opportunity for Africa to wake up.
It's got to stop somewhere. We need to stop the blame game.
Say, look, we can do it.
Yeah.
And it takes strong leadership. Yeah. And it takes an ethical leader, right, to say, look, I'm not here to get myself rich, but I'm here to work. And working hard can get you money as well, but it's a distributed economy. It's a shared economy.
It's a shared economy.
Where everyone can benefit. And that is possible. That is very much possible.
So, speaking again about capitalism, we've seen partnerships, economic partnerships take a different form. We've seen a lot of aid from the West, and then we see a lot of, should I say, partnership offers from the East, from the Asian tigers. And I'm hoping this is not an uncomfortable question, but when you compare the Asian tigers and their hand that comes with cash for business, which also seems to still encourage the evils of capitalism, and then you compare the Western hand with aid, which seems to, I can tell you that, for instance, in northern Uganda, we had a war for many, many years. And because we had a war, we had a lot of people that were pushed in camps, and they lived through a lot of trauma for a long time. So they became very aid dependent. And one of the crises we had was we have huge arable land in the north, but we have a community that, because of a whole generation being dependent on aid, they're not really developing. They're not really skilled or equipped to stand on their own. So there's that, what you call aid dependency. There's the evil of aid dependency. There's the evil of the capitalism and corruption that is causing, you've heard what's happening, for instance, in Zimbabwe, and these infrastructure projects that in the end look like we're losing things. How, to you as an economist, what would Latte's theory be on how do we leverage? Because I don't believe in cutting off these sources. We need foreign direct investment in Africa. It's the only thing we don't have on the African soil is the money. But what face should that money have? Is there a balance between aid and
No, I can tell you, I work in the aid industry, and aid is very tiny if you look at the percentage.
Oh, it's very tiny.
It's very tiny. It's very, very small. Yeah. Governments in northern countries.
Most of it is loans.
No, I mean, aid that can be grants. Okay. It's very, very tiny. It's minuscule. So.
Would you give it a percentage?
When you look at the whole foreign investments and financial flow, aid will be less than 10%. Wow. It's very small. Yeah. So I would say sometimes we look at the wrong issue, right? aid should be enabler, right?
It's an enabler, yeah. It
It
should be an enabler.
Yes. It should be enabler. It should help to set up the right, policy environments. It should help people to get a stepping stone, right? It should empower people. That's what we do at least. Yeah. So people have this kind of self-confidence that they can make it. And we've seen it in some of my program, right? I can just give an example, very basic, where women in Niger doing this kind of, they call it savings and loan, it's tontine in French, right? And we came across that as an organization, and we helped them to refine it. Yeah. And from one village in Niger, right, in West Africa, we didn't put any money in that. It's mostly like
organizing them, yes,
giving them the tool that they need, how to manage it, the management information system. From one village, it became continental. Wow. It's here in Uganda.
Yeah, with the box thing, yeah.
The box thing,
yeah.
Now it's digital.
Yeah,
it's
mobile money.
Movement.
It's a huge movement.
And my organization I used to work for, even the one I work for now, we never put a penny in that box. It's those same women money that they have used, leverage it, because some in that group, some are business oriented.
Yeah.
So they can get the loan from that
use
group,
it, put it back. Yes.
And put it back, and then they share out where everybody can benefit.
Brilliant.
Right?
That's a success story.
And I can tell you, this is also a social tool that helps so many women to transform their mindset, their agency.
To educate.
Exactly.
Their children,
and also the relationship within the community, within the households. Women are now equipped to have conversation with their husband.
Yes.
And husband also, we use our money that we leverage to educate husband on gender issues. Why gender equality is important, right? Why working together as a couple is important, right? And we've seen more social cohesion in those communities.
That's
and out of that as well, we see a lot of women becoming leaders in their communities and even at the national level. Like you see those women in Nigeria.
Yeah, growing to politicians.
Becoming politicians.
That's amazing.
And not just any kind of politician as well. Ethical politician.
Ethical politicians who understand financing.
And who are carrying their communities along with them.
No, I'm loving this.
Them behind, right?
Yes, I'm loving this story, Latte.
Yeah.
I want us to take a short break. Okay. And I just wanted to say, when we come back, I'd like to see how you see us expanding that model. I like what you're doing. I think you're proposing locally sourced solutions. And what we do is design thinking and helping these people organize themselves. That's brilliant, I must say. Although you're not touching my capitalism thing, but we'll get to, let's just take a break and but it's really exciting that story of the boxes because